Welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, the podcast covering all things soccer in the Queen City. So get in touch, soccer fans. Email us at feedback@cincinnati-soccertalk.com. Now, here's your host, Nick Suberling.
Hey, what's happening, Cincinnati Soccer Talkers? Welcome to episode 114 of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Glad you're with us here on this beautiful Monday evening. Lots to get to this week. FC Cincinnati gets the win on the road at Ottawa. They win 3-0. That is now their 10th point away from home this year, which is that is a very good number considering they only had 16 all of last year. We'll talk about their road form this week. And how can we not talk about the thunderbolt that was Kenny Walker's goal from 50 yards out, plus goals from Corbin Bone and, of course, Manu Ledesma opening his account for FC Cincinnati. So lots to get to this week. Of course, we want to hear from you. Make sure you get in touch with us on Twitter at Cincy Soccer Talk. You can also email us feedback@CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Captains. All right, this week's episode captain is Joseph Wells. Joseph, thank you so much for supporting us here and for wearing the armband for an episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Remember, if you want to be an episode captain, go support us over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. That's where you get a shout out at the beginning of the episode. We mention your name in our podcast posts and on social media. It's a good opportunity to show your support for what we're doing here at CST. All right, let's welcome in my cast of characters for this week. I'll start first and foremost with Brad Weigel. Brad, how are you, sir?
I love the foremost part. Definitely a huge compliment.
How's it going,
dude,
man?
everything's good. I know everybody's been talking about the stellar goals we've seen from Ledesma and Kenny Walker, but I want to give shout out to the real MVP of the match, and that's Alan Koch's new goatee he's supporting. I don't think he can get rid of that thing for a while if we keep putting up 3-0 performances, and I'm sure he'd agree.
Yeah, he's sporting a little facial hair. He has been. And I was you were the one who pointed that out when we saw. I guess that was a social media post from the club there at the airport. I didn't see. I don't know how you saw that, Eagle Eyes.
Yeah, there you go.
Glad to have you back. Looking forward to getting your take on what happened over the weekend and what's been transpiring with the club. Of course, we also welcome back Ken Hecker. Ken, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. Are you recovering nicely?
Yeah, actually, thanks for asking. The knees finally started to heal up. I don't know if this weekend would be a good weekend to return, so I'll probably hold off one more game. Just want to reach out and say happy birthday to our gaffer, Alan Koch. Today's his birthday, so hope he's listening. Sure he is. He'll get some nice advice from us for this week's games.
I didn't realize it was his birthday today. I mean, I know it's somebody else's birthday today. He's probably walking around in Oakley Kroger with some watermelon. No? Nothing? All right. Okay.
Yep.
On that note, if I had a sound effect for crickets, I would use that. But instead, I'm going to play this sound effect, and let's welcome Bill Wolf back to the show. Wolfman, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Brad got foremost. I was looking for main man, but that's okay. I can handle it.
Oh, you just like to make fun of all my verbal crutches. Thank you, Bill. How you been, man? It's been a while.
It's been a little while. Yeah, I've been a busy guy, so trying to get my son finalized and ready for college and taking the last few soccer games he's going to play. So, yeah, lots going on in the Wolf household.
Well, we're glad to have you back. Looking forward to getting your thoughts on what transpired over the weekend. I guess the minor changes, the minor tweaks that Coach Koch has made to the formation that has seen FC Cincinnati score 5 goals in the last 3 halves. So that's a good thing as well. So, again, as we mentioned, FC Cincinnati getting the road win, their 10th point on the road this year. They only had 16 all of last year. Road form has been tremendous to start the year. It didn't look great for about the first, 60 or so minutes, guys. Danny Koenig missing a lot of chances early on, a lot of chances we felt like he probably should have put in the back of the net, and I'm sure Danny feels the same way. But then Kenny Walker, out of nowhere, off of a goal kick, very much reminiscent of Zlatan Ibrahimovic's goal a few weeks ago for the Galaxy. Just thunders one in from 50 yards out Ken, you were watching live with me. I got to admit, you scared the crap out of me because of your reaction. I had to wait about a minute and a half to see what happened. Talk about your reaction to that goal and what you saw.
Man, I was sitting down in I think it was second place watching it with my brother. And I had to like pause for a second. When it hit the net, I was like, did that really go in? And I mean, as the Ottawa guy said, what a cracker. It was just unbelievable. I mean, it really was. I thought it was better than Zlatan's even. Anybody who says the goalkeeper was out of position is wrong.
Yep.
I'm just going to say that right now. Ottawa was playing a very high line with their defense, and that goalkeeper had to stay out to protect anything that came just over the top. Who expects a rocket like that? I mean, that was unbelievable.
I personally, I'll before I chime in here, Brad, I didn't see anybody saying that. I didn't think the keeper was out of position. And you're right. As a goalkeeper on a goal kick, you're not expecting to be hit over your head like that after one touch. You're there basically playing the sweeper role. So yeah, I'm with you, Ken. That's crazy. Brad, your thoughts on the goal?
Just saying, you can't coach an unworldly shot like that. You know what I'm saying? There's not much you can do if you're the keeper in that situation. First of all, you're not expecting that to happen. Second of all, it was just gorgeous. But the technical ability that was amazing. And they talk about players putting in the time and effort when we don't see it. And I thought that the coolest part about the goal was all the messages from the backroom guys at FC Cincinnati saying, now we know why Kenny Walker comes out early to every practice and drags us out and has us bring all the equipment out because he's practicing the volleys and the free kicks. And it just shows, in a situation like that, it paid off. And what do you know? Talk about brand awareness. I think FC Cincinnati's up to almost 750,000 views of the Sports Center tweet. So maybe Kenny can get a little bit of that marketing commission there.
Yeah, a little bit. Lots of views. Sports Center top 10 play last week, or I guess it would have been Saturday night. I'm going to ask you this, Bill. I'm going to put you on the spot. If Kenny Walker right now were to throw up 50 balls in the air from midfield like that, how many do you think are going in there at practice? Just him screwing around at practice.
Well, if I take Teddy to his word, who is, kind of the guy who chases the balls, not very many, because he said he wouldn't be angry anymore chasing all the balls when Kenny's shooting from distance into trash cans and missing a lot. So yeah, I would say, he could try that again for the rest of the season. He's never going to get that ball to do that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong technically. I'm just saying that was a heck of a shot, no matter how good you are. That was at least 40 yards out. And not only that, but it never touched the ground. It went from goal to goal, 3 touches, and never touched the ground. It was all out of the air.
That's pretty crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's remarkable to think of it that way. Before we move on, because I do feel like we need to touch on the chances missed, because this 3-0 scoreline was just a flurry of goals, I would say, in the last 15 minutes or so in this match. The FC Cincinnati really just picked apart Ottawa. But for the first, and we'll get into it in a minute, I want to throw this question to you guys, because I posed it on Twitter and I got a lot of responses about whether or not this was the best goal in FC Cincinnati history. And I'm not saying the greatest goal from the standpoint of significance. Like, for me, the goal against the Crew maybe has more significance because it was the Crew. But I mean, I'm talking about from a technical standpoint. Is this not the greatest goal in FC Cincinnati history? I'll throw it to you first, Ken, putting you on the spot. And if it's not, which one tops it?
I think it's the most amazing goal. I still say Stevenson's in the playoff game was it was upper 90, 35 yards out. It was intended on goal. Not to say that Kenny's wasn't. I mean, it's just, I think Kenny spotted the guy out of the net and made it. But best goal, I'd still put Stevenson's. That's just personal choice.
All right. So you're still going with Stevenson. Fair enough. FC Cincinnati color commentator Kevin McCloskey chiming in tonight. He says, if Kenny drives the ball over 40 yards to a target, he would hit that target 8 out of 10 times. Whew. That's
on a volley like that. I mean, maybe off of a spot kick, but man, on a volley like that, woo.
Yeah.
I'll trust Kevin though. Kevin knows his stuff.
He does know his stuff. And since he's watching live, I'm going to have to ask him if that was the best goal he's seen in the orange and blue. But first, Brad, was that the best goal you've ever seen?
I have to think so. I think the only one that could come close technical wise would have been maybe Corbin Bones' goal, the down in Florida against Reykjavik in the 2016 preseason. That's the only thing I think comes close technical wise.
All right, and I have a little caveat with that because I did get that response on Twitter quite a bit. And yes, it was a spectacular goal, but it was a friendly and it didn't count. This was a league match that, had some meaning.
That was our first silverware. Don't you even come close to saying that didn't count.
It was a friendly. Come on, Brad. If Harry Kane goes and scores a friendly this summer in the International Champions Cup, are you going to say it's the best goal he's ever had?
It could be.
Okay. All right. Bill, how about you?
I'm going to go, yeah. I'd say, yeah. I think that's the best goal FCC's had in my experience watching. And it's not just, I mean, the other goals were great, but it was literally what I just said before, which was goal to goal. 3 people touched it, one being Richie, and it never touched the ground. To me, that was just phenomenal. The fact that he took it right out of the air like that off a header, put it in 40 yards away into the upper corner. Crazy.
All right. So I'm in full agreement. To me, it's the best goal I've ever seen in the orange and blue. I put my rankings out there on Twitter. I said it was Kenny Walker's goal against Ottawa. I went with Sean Okolie's scissor kick. And then I can't remember what I put for the third one. Oh, Stevenson's goal. No, actually, you know what? I think I put Stevenson's goal ahead of Okolie there, 1, 2, and 3. And then somebody quickly reminded me of Harrison Delbridge's goal last year against Red Bulls 2, which a fine strike in itself, too. So I'd love to hear your feedback, though, FC Cincinnati fans. Was that the best goal ever scored in the orange and blue for FC Cincinnati? Make sure you email us feedback at cincinnati-soccertalk.com. Let's talk about the misses, though. FC Cincinnati probably could have won this match 8-0, guys. Danny Koenig getting the start, missed a chance in the first half, missed a real clear-cut chance there early on in the second half. What do we make of his performance?
Well, I think we fully expect our striker to put at least the first chance of the second half away. That's almost inexcusable with that bunny. It doesn't get any easier than that. But I think the thing that it shows is that FC Cincinnati is finally getting our striker into dangerous spots on the field. And I think that's really what we need to take out of it. Danny Koenig has shown plenty of quality in his year and a half here. He's shown the ability to put the ball away in dangerous positions. Most notably last year away at Louisville. When we won, and then he went over and tackled Jibby to celebrate the goal. So he's proved himself to me that he can score. I'm not going to jump on him. It's not the end of the world. He's going to bury that chance 99 times out of 100. He missed, but I'm just ecstatic that this team, I like how they're working up top with the 2 strikers, Ledesma, and they're all getting the dangerous scoring chances. And so, yeah, it stinks he missed, but I think if we continue to put him and Emery Welshman and Tommy in those dangerous positions going forward, we're going to score a lot more goals.
I like your take too, Brad, and I'll get to you here in a second too, Ken, because you're right. It was like the fact that chances were there was proof in the pudding that the tweak in the formation and the things that they worked on at training this week were starting to finally pay off. And you're right. I think getting those opportunities in front of net is kind of what this team was missing for a little while there, and the little mini dip they found in form, Ken. But at the end of the day, as Brad said, I mean, as a striker, you have one job: put the ball in the net. And I'm sure he's looking at himself saying, "I should have buried it."
Oh, I bet he is. I was just going to say, I think there's more to his game than just that bunny. And I agree with you. We expect him to put the ball in the back of the net, but his runs freed up so much space for everybody else. the breakaway that it was a pass. I can't remember if it was from Naz or Richie Ryan. Maybe it was just a little too heavy that got to the goalkeeper, but he created a space, and those are the runs that make defense think twice. And you have to put yourself in position. And that's the first thing a forward has to do. I mean, we say he has to finish. The first thing he has to do is put himself in a position to score. And I think Danny has done that the best this year. And I think that opens up a lot of avenues for the rest of the team. So I don't want his work to be overlooked just because of one misstep. Basically, There was a lot of things he does that opens up for everybody else.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, the fact that they were getting the chances was good. What's going to get overlooked, which is kind of unfortunate, was the second goal because of what happened with Walker. The distance and the fact that he did what he did. Not even a minute later, FC Cincinnati, pretty much off the kickoff of Ottawa, win the ball back. A little 1-2 with Richie Ryan and Walker. Walker, without even looking, plays the ball forward through the channel to Manu on the right flank and puts the ball right on the forehead of Corbin Bone. Arguably one of the prettier goals we've seen in FC Cincinnati history as well. And it's going to get overlooked because of what Kenny Walker did. Let's talk about how great that goal was, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the kind of goal we're looking to have happen, not the Kenny Walker goals. We're not going to expect that every game. These are the ones that we want to happen on a more regular basis. And since Kevin's watching, and since he agreed with me that it was the Walker was the best goal in history of FCC, I'll give him kudos because, if you watch the broadcast, he was literally saying, we're knocking at the door, we're getting our chances, it's getting ready to happen. And then boom, boom, 2 goals. I mean, the Walker one was a fluke, obviously, and not saying Walker didn't have the talent, but that's not what you expect on a regular basis. But, when that second goal went in, it's like, I mean, you just kind of had felt like the momentum was building. The guys were getting their chances. We were definitely pressing. It was a completely different second half than the first half, and it was going to happen. So it was wonderful to see. That's the kind of goal that I'd like to see 2 or 3 of every game.
Yeah, with that goal, I like how we got deeper up that flank. It's something that we haven't been getting as much going forward. And I think if you even look at the heat maps and all the other Opta stats you can find on the USL website, especially in that second half, was the ability of Ledesma and Hoyt to get deep up that right flank and then get balls back into dangerous situations versus balls that you might cross in a little earlier that are just easily being able to pick by the keeper. So something I definitely look forward to seeing more and more of is getting that ball. If we are going to play wide, getting it deeper up that sideline and crossing it in.
And what a finish by Bone too. I mean, we talk about the vision of Walker. We talk about the cross from Ledesma because he was putting some nice balls in there. But Bone, I mean, the height that he got and just the way he put his head on it and changed the direction of the ball, tucked it into the lower corner. I mean, it was just phenomenal.
And really, Ken, he came out of nowhere because even the Ottawa defenders, they're fully expecting to get ready to clear that ball out. And the next thing you know, this guy in white just comes right in between those 2 center backs, and they're looking at each other like, what just happened?
Yeah, I actually went back and watched the game a little bit today, and I watched that goal. And you can see Corbin Bone just like watching Ledesma. I go back to actually Bill's interview in the preseason where Ledesma was talking about him, Ledesma liking Corbin. And I mean, there's just like connection between the two of them that they just know where each other is. And Corbin just ran right in, and it was like he knew it was there. It was on a line, and it was beautiful. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, it was just telepathy between the two of them.
Yeah, we saw it really early on. Actually, it was the first goal of the preseason for FC Cincinnati. They got it was the combination of Corbin Bone and Ledesma there on the right against the New England Revolution, and here we are again a few months later. Can't believe I'm saying months. It's 8 months, but feels like yesterday, right, Bill? No, yeah. This was a really good team goal. What I really liked about it is the fact that they won it quickly off a turnover and they quickly pounced. Rather than possess the ball and wait around, they took advantage of Ottawa's miscue right away and put the ball in the back of the net. On the same token, what I really liked about the third goal is that, again, FC Cincinnati finally taking advantage of the miscues that Ottawa showed. I mean, it was a poor play by their center back that allowed Ledesma to get in behind the defense. And rather than dribble, and get closer to the keeper, he saw he was off his line again, and it was a beautiful chip over the keeper for the third goal, Brad.
No, I mean, you just with Ledesma quickly pouncing on the center back's mistake and then just taking that chip from 30 yards. You would see a lot of guys there trying to round the keeper, take the keeper one-on-one and put it in. And Ledesma just calmly and coolly just chipped it from 30 yards. I mean, that's something you got to practice. And that's a humongous quality there. You know, it's a huge technical ability that I think it shows what he can do in dangerous situations this year. So he didn't take, the easiest route in my mind, but I just think it shows what talent we do have here at FC Cincinnati.
So let's ask the question, because I know a lot of folks there was a lot of folks early on asking to see Naz Al-Badawi start playing some more. He played against Ottawa, thought he was okay. We also seen the team kind of make a shift in tactics, a little shift in formation, where now we've starting to see them play with a little bit more freedom, it feels like. So I'm going to pose the question to you three, and for those of you watching live on Facebook or YouTube, has this team turned a corner, Bill?
I did not hear that if that was for me.
It was for you. I said, has this team turned a corner?
Okay. I heard ill at the end, so I thought, dang, he's asking me a question. Love the internet. Love it. So have they turned a corner? They're improving continuously. I think their ability to combine is obviously getting stronger, and we're seeing them, making some of these plays. Do I think that they are firing on all cylinders, and when they go up against Louisville again, that they're gonna, have a completely different result? I don't know that I'm quite convinced yet. I think the first half was disappointing. If we're gonna play a top team, we can't play 45 minutes. We have to play 90. And then I think the other thing is obviously Ottawa is 16th place for a reason. That's not to say that there isn't some quality there, but obviously they make some mistakes and we were able to capitalize on them. And that's probably why they're struggling, is they've made mistakes and other teams have capitalized on them. But I think we need, to be able to do this against, for instance, Indy 11 on Wednesday. So before I'm convinced. So
you're still a little hesitant, I guess.
I think the quality is there. I think they're working, and I think they're going to get there. I think every game I see more moments for longer periods of time. But yeah, I think they're going to still need some more games to really get that possession style that they want, to just click without giving the ball away easily.
All right. So before I get to Ken, who's kind of our statistician extraordinaire and math whiz, I don't know if he likes that label or not. I'm going to ask you, Brad. Has this team turned the corner?
I think, again, I'm more along the lines of Bill. But Bill said something that kind of has gotten me riled up lately. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Indy matchup coming up, but Bill said along the lines of, we'll need more games to develop. And I think some of us were unfair thinking we were going to fire on all cylinders coming out of the gate. And that really wasn't a fair analysis. And I think I've come to apologize for that and come around and think we do need some more games to tune us up a bit. But I also think some of these pundits out there are being a little unfair about FC Cincinnati, thinking we're going to be the world beaters and roll over every single group. And going away on the road, no matter where you go, is tough. It's not easy in the USL. Ottawa has a lot of talented players. Bethlehem has a ton of talented players. They may not showing up right now in the standings, but Bethlehem's got we played a couple weeks ago on the road. They got 5 MLS guys coming down. So I think, we might need to reanalyze our analysis. That doesn't mean our expectations have changed of a championship, because that is what the team and the coach and the players have put out. but I think we might need to give them a little time to tune it up a bit. So that's really my thoughts. And I think Mike Watt said it best this week. FC Cincinnati looked awesome for 45 minutes, and they're starting to turn the corner. And when they get that 90-minute performance, watch out.
Yeah, it was well said by Mike. Todd Wilson on Facebook, he says it's just one game, not even to a corner yet. 90 minutes of this type of play against quality competition. So
agreed.
Fair point. I mean, look, it is Ottawa. Ken, your breakdown statistically before the match had us believing that FC Cincinnati had I think it was a 75% chance to win 3-0 or so. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you figure it out. That's all way over my head, but somehow you do it. So before the match, talk about what you did statistically and what you found, how it kind of played out. Did it come out to what you were expecting statistically?
Well, I'm not going to take any credit. It's actually just it's a formula that the gambling sites actually use. It's called the Poisson distribution. So it basically takes, and I don't want to get into the minutia of it. It takes away our when we're playing away on the road. It takes away how many goals we score on the road and how many goals we give up on the road, and compares it to the team that we're playing on their home form. And there was only one game for Ottawa, but it did say we were going to have I think it was 70%. I know it was like 80% for Ottawa that they would not even score a goal. But the bigger statistic, I think that I think Brad and Bill have been talking about is, have we turned the corner? I don't know if we've turned the corner, but we're heading in the right direction. And XG, the expected goals, definitely has shown that. I mean, we went from looking like we were going to give up 2 goals and only scoring half a goal against Charleston, the first game of the season. So, I mean, we technically should have lost, and now we're up over 1 XG over the opponent. And people are probably going, what is an XG? An expected goal is when somebody takes a shot in a specific area of the field, there's a percentage that they're most likely going to score. Danny Koenig's missed little bunny does not count, actually, because he did not get a shot off, so it doesn't even count into the XG. But if it would have been, we would have gotten almost half a goal more expected. So my point is the whole analysis is just showing we're trending the right direction on both of them. We're creating more chances, we're giving up less, and like I said, I don't want to get in the minutia.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, you're creating more chances and giving up less. That's a good recipe for victory. So I wouldn't say turn the corner, but as you said, Ken, heading in the right direction, which is what you want. And we know the slate early on this year was going to be tough, and it doesn't get any easier as they go on the road this week to take on Indy 11 there at Lucas Oil Stadium again, and then they're back home to take on Atlanta United. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go download March to Match Day. Brian Weigel did a great job this week previewing the Indy 11 match coming up this Wednesday night. So make sure you get subscribed to our podcast so you don't miss a single minute of our preview for Indy 11. Before we move on, one more thing to recap about Saturday's match. It was the first time we've seen Spencer Ritchie in goal in USL play this year. Got the start for the orange and blue, and what do you know? He kept a clean sheet. And actually, he wants credit for a hockey assist on the goal for Kenny Walker. So I think we should give it to him. And actually, if you think about it, he wasn't too. Actually, I guess Lasso should get credit for a hockey assist as well on the Ledesma goal, if he wasn't credited for assist already.
They are in Canada.
If we're going to give Richie that hockey assist there, I can't wait to see what Evan Newton's going to do to match him.
Oh, well, I can't wait to see what Evan Newton's going to do to your brother in the shootout whenever that happens.
Yeah.
Someday.
Jeff said yes.
Okay. All right. We got to make it happen.
Was it the FC Cincinnati front office versus media game?
Oh, yeah.
Halftime entertainment.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be entertaining.
Anyway, FC Cincinnati, most importantly, look, they get the win on the road. They only had 4 road wins all of last year. That's it, 4 road wins all of last year, and they get their 3rd of the year here in 2018. Not saying they wanted to put an emphasis on the away form, but if you can win your away games like they are and get better at home, it's looking up for the orange and blue. Before we move on to talk about some other things that has gone down with FC Cincinnati this week, it is that time of the show where we give a big shout-out and thanks to our supporters. Big thanks to Tim Bronsel, King's Hammer, Matt Adamczyk, Mama Subes, Brian Malone, Jamie Smed, Mike Hudson, Jonas Tom, Jack Emery, Mike Bowman, and Jesse Gilt, Kathleen Francis, Jesse King, and Teresa Everidge. Thank you so much for supporting us here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. You are our tremendous supporters. Next week, we will be announcing every name that is a supporter of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. So make sure you go support the show at cincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. One other cool thing, I don't know if you had a chance to check us out on Facebook last week. We did a video with our buddies over at Ohio Memories, myself and Ryan Fowler. We did a little T-shirt giveaway, and so it was a guess the score contest. And out of all the guesses, believe it or not, there were 4 3-0 scoreline predictions, not including myself, which I did for the Growler Cup. I'm going to pat myself on the back now. So congrats to Kevin Rossell, Tina Harris, Danny Poe, and Susie Langen. You tied, so that means I am now going to pull your name out of a hat potentially. There's 4 names in here, and I'm going to randomly draw a name here, and then let's see who was the winner of the free shirt from OhioMemories.com. Drum roll, please. Thank you, Bill. Leave it to the drummer to give us a little noise here. All right, there it is. Congrats to Susie Langen. Susie, thank you so much for guessing, and congratulations on winning your shirt there. Thanks.
She is on Facebook, and
she's excited.
Yes, she is. So, congrats, Susie. And thank you for everybody who has gone out on our Facebook page and guessed this week. We're going to be doing more of those throughout the year, and our thanks to Ryan Fowler over at OhioMemories.com for allowing us to do that. All right, so I was busy yesterday. I didn't get to see what all went down on ESPN with Taylor Twellman and everything that happened with Carl Leonard III, or as WCPO likes to think, Carl Leonard II, was out in L.A. for the home opener for LAFC. Jeff Birding also there.
RVP.
Right. I shouldn't make fun of because we make gaffes all the time.
If they didn't win a social media award.
Oh, Brad.
I don't know how.
Yeah. Anyway, so they were there for the home opener. A lot of people were disseminating the tweets from Jeff Birding and Don Garber, how close the angle was on their shot from the home opener from the field. I don't know what to make of it. Jeff, obviously, we know has been lobbying very hard and been communicating very often with the folks there at MLS. So, Bill, can you make anything of what happened yesterday? Were you surprised at the comments from Taylor Twellman on ESPN about the fact that he would not be shocked that there would be an announcement in the next 10 to 14 days? Or is this, we've been here before?
Yeah, we've been here before, but I mean, what do we actually really we know that as far as we're aware, every box has been ticked at this point. It doesn't seem like there's anything else we're trying to do, so we're kind of waiting on MLS. We know that Jeff was scheduled to have a meeting with the fan council today and had to cancel that for a, quote, family vacation. And then yesterday he was in LA at the unveiling of their new stadium with all the bigwigs with Carl Linder. And yes, Carl Linder and Jeff have traveled before to these events, but it's been like 2 to 3 years since they did that. So I'm thinking pretty significant that Carl was along. And then, of course, Taylor made the comment that, you know, again, it's a rumor, but he said that, you know, he heard there were meetings today with those two as well as the MLS. So, you know, Taylor does have some inside connections that some of us don't have, so there's probably some validity to it. But the question is, what does it mean? I don't know. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. I'm not going to get my hopes up until MLS knocks on the door.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't happen in the next 10 to 14 days. Brad, I mean, do you make anything of this? Or is this just a bunch of, I don't even know what you want to call it.
Well, I think it's we need to say that Pat Brennan of the Inquirer asked Dan Quartermach, a spokesman of MLS, today, and he did say that Mark Abbott and Don Garber have not yet done their visit. They said they were going to do to the West End site, but I still think it lines up. And Pat's been on this train for a while of patience, and he said when we announced the stadium bid, he probably expected a month, and that 2 weeks puts us in that time frame, and I just think he's got a good read on this situation, and I think it might start. I hate to say it, but it might be the time to start getting excited again.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I know. Everybody's going to hate me because we're all going to start checking our Twitter feeds every 30 seconds and drain our batteries by noon. But I think it's time to happen. We've checked every single box, and they got all this LA stuff out of the way, and news cycle coming up, and we just got it all done. And there's just so much positivity going this way. And I said, like you said before, Bill said, Carl Leonard's not getting on that plane for no reason. He's not traveling to the MLS All-Star game like Jeff is, or so there's got to be something special to get him out there on a Sunday evening. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get the hype train rolling.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, we know that Jeff's a politician, right? We know Jeff's a politician. So for him to go to these events and to shake hands and to face to face with people, that's his job. That's what he does. That's part of the process. Carl hired Jeff basically, or brought him into this to do that. For him to show up, that's not what he normally does. He's not out there pumping flesh.
Do you think MLS is going to let him on the field if there wasn't something to it? I mean, if MLS is an outright no, you think they're going to let Lindner and Birding get on the field and take pictures and tweet all that stuff out? You think they would probably get to him and say, "Hey, you guys are probably not smart to do that." So I think it's time to get the hype train rolling. I'm not saying it's going to be this week, but I think it's a coming.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, Brad. I mean, I've been in the win process for quite a while. I've never doubted that it's going to happen. It's just a question of, is it in 10 to 14 days? And considering how many times we thought it was coming, I've just learned to be very conservative on that. On the flip side, I will also come back around on that a little bit and say, this week we're doing, 3 games in 8 days. And then next week we get a gap. And then after that, isn't it like Open Cup time?
Open Cup.
And then congestion starts up again. So next week is open, but I'm not saying anything.
Choo choo. So rolling.
I'm bullish on Cincinnati.
Oh man. I will say this. We did receive a tweet. I don't know if it was verified or confirmed, but folks with Sacramento Republic were also there at the match.
I don't see that. I didn't see that anywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's just a Newport Nancy guy trying to get us all rolling. I'm dead serious.
Newport Nancy.
I didn't see anything about that at all.
All right. What I saw on Twitter was a tweet from somebody who covers the Republic. So
I didn't see that.
That's fine.
Well, it was close by. Maybe they just hopped in a car and drove down there, and they were outside the gate.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look. Personally, if I had the ability to fly and go witness that game, I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch it. They scored in the 90th minute on almost the last kick of the game, and that crowd went crazy. And it sounded and looked great. A lot of folks tweeting out and putting out there on social media that they felt like, okay, they invited, or maybe there wasn't an invitation, but that Carl Lindner III and Jeff Birding were there to kind of see what opening a stadium should look like. Because if this is the case, I guess there is the potential that if FC Cincinnati is picked, there's the potential that they might be the next stadium to open in Major League Soccer. I don't know if they can beat Nashville to that punch, but there is the potential that even so, Nashville probably was there to see what that should look like. When you hear talk like that, do you put any validity to that as well? Not everybody all at once.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Bill.
No. I just never mind. I got nothing.
Or do you have something?
Oh yeah, I know everything, but it's, it's all secret. I can't tell you guys.
Oh, okay, all right. Brad, do you throw any validity to that?
I don't know, man. Yeah. I think we're gonna get to MLS. Yeah, I'm letting you down right now, Subes.
That's okay.
Pay attention to your podcast Slack right now.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, well then. Clearly, I'm not in the loop on something, but all right then. Let's talk. Let's move on, shall we? Unless you have any final. Unless you have any final
question. I had
Oh.
stuff going on behind the scenes back here. I didn't hear your damn question. I'm sorry, bro. I tried to play it off.
Yeah, Brad's on
here.
Slack. No, Brad's on Slack talking, and I'm paying attention to what Brad's talking about. I'm not paying attention to you at all, Soups. I'm sorry.
Yep.
The
Yep.
two of us are completely oblivious.
Yep.
Sorry. Anyway, we move on.
No, we're sorry.
We're gonna edit this out.
Don't we have 2 games this week?
Yes, we do.
Sure.
Make sure you get to March to
Thank
Match
you,
Day
Kenny.
downloaded. Subscribe to the show so that you don't miss a single episode of our preview matches. Brian does a really good job putting those together. This week he visited with the folks again at Sock Takes to learn more about Indy 11 and what we have seen differently since Indy last played FC Cincinnati. So again, make sure you go get subscribed to that. And of course, we'll be also previewing Atlanta United. And it turns out we will not be seeing the greatest goalkeeper in FC Cincinnati's very short history, although he's only played here for 2 years. Mitch Hildebrandt, most likely not going to be playing in that match, still recovering from an injury. But let's talk a little bit about that Indy match, guys. Obviously, it was a very tough, hard-fought match, very physical match. Kenny Walker finally coming back. Here's an interesting stat, and I'll throw this out to you guys. And I'm surprised not more of is made of it on social media, but Kenny Walker through 6 games has more goals than any of our forwards. That's just in the last 2 matches. The last time he played Indy 11, though, Jack McInerney rugby tackled him to the ground. What do we make of this match, Brad? And where is Indy at currently?
Right now, they're playing some pretty good soccer, getting some points. They're in 7th place on 10 points, but they've only played 5 matches, so they're a game or 2 behind everybody. A win tomorrow would probably see them jump to 2nd place in the table. But so they're playing some good soccer. But they did draw this week 0-0 away at Charlotte, and then they do have a big game coming up this Saturday against Louisville.
Yeah, they've got basically a gap in there. So, or I mean, not a gap. They've got the same issue we have where they've got the midweek game, and they're going to have to make the same kind of decisions we are on, do they rest players or do they go for this game and rest players in the next one? But to play those, 3 games in 8 days, that's a lot to ask your guys. You're gonna have to rotate. I'm not sure what the depth of their squad is. Certainly, I think we're up for it, but it could be interesting with Indy.
I actually have a little bit different take because I think Indy's good. I think they're almost a mirror image of us, but I looked up a couple little stats, me being the stat guy. Indy does not like to have the ball. And I say that in the aspect of they only like 45% possession. So our next 2 games between Indy and Atlanta are almost polar opposites. Atlanta likes the ball. They like to get at it. Indy likes to let us have the ball, let other teams have the ball. In fact, I think the only game they had more possession than the other team was us the last time. The question is going to be do they rotate players for the Louisville game? Do they rest players? And who do we play? those are my questions. I don't know. I mean, I have like 4 guys that I think we would definitely rotate, and Deckel and Ledesma and Ryan. And go ahead.
I was going to say it was an interesting debate that we had last week at the end of the week, leading into the Ottawa match, about whether or not they should play a full squad against Ottawa and then rest guys for Indy. But now that you've gotten the 3 points against Ottawa, and you know Indy's probably going to rest some guys getting ready for Louisville, do you take the chance and play your full squad Wednesday night against Indy, and then knowing you have a home game against Atlanta, where you can maybe give some guys their first game at Nippert, or do you rest guys for Indy and then bring your full squad to hopefully get the 3 points against Atlanta United?
Well, I think if you look at Allen's track record, and Brian mentioned this in March to Match Day, he tends to, even though we've had a lot of success on the road this year, he's tended to put more emphasis on the home matches. We saw last year in a lot of schedule congestion. He played a C squad at Rochester, and they went out and lost. So I think you're definitely going to see more rotation, and then see that starting 11 come out in front of the crowd on Saturday at home. I mean, just look at the people who, he did leave some players at home this weekend. So he's going to rotate some guys. You might see Lance Lang play this week and let Blake Smith rest and then play Saturday. And then he also sat on the bench Welshman, McLaughlin, LaHood, Haber, Boehner. I think those are, guys you could all see rotate back in, especially, the wing backs, like I said, Lance Lang on the left and Boehner on the right. And then you maybe see LaHood take a place of maybe a Corbin Bone or a Richie Ryan, who might be a little older, up in age, and may not have the legs to go every 3 days. So I think it's a good time to swap some guys out, let some players get some rest. If you can take a point on the road, I think it's a great opportunity, and I think it also kind of benefits us. It's a narrow pitch, so we might be able to pack in a little bit more and try to steal a point, versus if it's a big open space, you'd have a lot more running, be a little more difficult. So I think it might set up for us to rotate some guys in this week.
All right, so I'm going to put it to you guys. Does Deckel play Wednesday night against Indy? Yes or no, Bill?
I think Barrett's going to play, would be my guess. So the question is who comes out. And on one side, if you look at the preseason, it was usually a pairing of Deckel and Barrett. So that would make a lot of sense. On the flip side, that would then put Deckel in for essentially 3 games in 8 days. I would think we'd want to rest him a little bit. I'm guessing it's going to be Lasso Barrett in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have the Open Cup coming up, where guys are going to get some rest that week. You're going to see a lot of guys rotated that week for the Open Cup match. So, Ken, does Deckel rest Wednesday night against Indy, or is he going to play both matches?
My numbers say 100% he's resting.
All right.
I don't
you
see
punched
how,
it up
I'm
there
with,
on the
I'm with
Hetker
Bill.
calculator.
I mean, there's no way you can play. You don't want him to play 3 games in 8 days. It's just it's not healthy for him at this point in his career, and not good for us.
All right. I mean, look, it's hard to argue, and again, it's a marathon here, and you don't want to get guys burned out early. So I'm with you. I think you might see. I guess the way I look at it is, and I know Atlanta's going to be tough, but I also feel like giving some guys the opportunity to play in front of the home team for the first time here in Cincinnati, he might give them that opportunity. Maybe you go out and see how things are going for the first 45 with your full squad, and I don't know. But at the same time, you do need to rotate. There is going to be a break coming up here with the Open Cup. So we'll see. I think the squad rotation is going to be a benefit to this group. Lasso's accumulating some yellow cards. Kynan's accumulating some yellow cards. We've already seen Kenny Walker miss a game with an injury this year, so you maybe give him some more rest. Richie Ryan, obviously, a break as well, and that'll give LaHood some time in there in the midfield. as well as Seymour to get back in there, who played very well when Walker was out. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if they'll bring a full squad Wednesday night, but hopefully they can get the 3 points against Indy 11. And then obviously they got the big one coming up next weekend, or this coming weekend, against Atlanta United.
Here's an interesting thought on Indy, because we've kind of made the assumption that, like us, they might want to, rest in the middle of the week and then hit hard against Louisville. But why is that? I mean, Louisville's the number 1 team right now. We're number 5 now after the last weekend. So, we're a little further down the table. Maybe they want to rest their players against Louisville and just say, you know what, we're not going to get that one. Let's take this home game and try to win it.
It's an interesting point too.
Yeah, I just don't like pressing your players this early in the season. I know they might be a little fresher. I just don't like pressing them, getting them a little extra tired early in the year. Rotate. It's a game. It's on the road. We win. If we get a draw, great. If we win, even better. I think you got to look at the big picture here. And I think the big picture says rotate your players. Don't burn them out early. It's a long season. You added 2 more games this year to the load. So it's all part of a larger equation. And so if we come out and we play some David on Wednesday, I might get it a little bit. So I saw your reaction there, Subes.
But he was injured last I heard too, right?
Oh.
He picked up a knock in training.
I'm just saying, this is more the greater point.
Yep.
Jeff Tebbets on YouTube says Lasso with Barrett one of those days. Lasso with Barrett one of those days. Want to see if Lasso can patrol the back line. So interesting.
I think we do need to reach out. I mean, we need to experience that. We just can't depend on Lasso and Kynan the whole year, and we have to put them in the fire. If we don't do it now, when are we going to do it?
I like it. See what he's got. Yeah, I agree. So my guess is we'll see some squad rotation, and of course, as we say that, Alan Koch will roll out a full squad lineup and go for it there against Indy. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Again, as we begin to wrap things up here on episode 114, thank you to everybody who's tuned in live here on Facebook and YouTube. We do record the show live every Monday night at 9 o'clock, with the exception of here in a few weeks. We will be out at House of Orange on May 14th, I believe is the date, Brad Weigel.
That's it. Monday, May 14th.
So in
2 weeks.
Yep, in a couple weeks, we will be, when I say we, they will be out at the House of Orange for the live show with special guest Paul Nicholson from the Cincinnati Dutch Lions, where we'll be talking quite a bit about the Dutch Lions and, of course, what's been going on with the orange and blue. So make sure you come out and visit us. That'll be 7 o'clock at the House of Orange. So get down there. If it was anything like the last live show we did, it's going to be a good one. So make sure you're there loud and supporting here on CST. Again, big thanks to our episode captain this week, Joseph Wells. If you want to support the show, you can do so by going to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. Get your name shouted out. We're going to be announcing every name next week. So make sure you do that. And, of course, if you don't want to help us out, you can always rate and review the show on iTunes. If you can't help us out financially, a rating and review is very supportive. We appreciate everybody who's gone out and done that. I believe we are just about at the 70 review mark. So thank you very much for all of the written reviews that you have given us here over the past almost 2.5 years that we've been doing this show. All right, let's begin to wrap up with our final thoughts. I will start with you, Bill Wolf. Bill, thanks for being with us this week. We appreciate it.
Ooh, final thoughts.
The last time you were on here, you brought it with your final thought. You got a little riled up. What do you got for us this week?
No, I'm not going to be angry, Bill, this time. So just as I guess to let everybody know status, Don Garber has not called at this point.
Oh man,
I am keeping my phone charged. I'm keeping the ringer turned on. I am waiting, but at this point, no, I'm just kidding. So let's see. I would say I'll just throw out the comment about the Molly bus trip for those who aren't aware, who are interested in going to Indy. There is a bus going from Molly's. $25 includes beer, and you just need to contact Molly's to sign up. So,
and when you say Molly's, I believe you mean Molly Malone.
Covington.
Down in Covington, yes. And it's going to what's it? Where was our home base in Indy that we stayed at?
Daisies.
Basie's? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to go there, isn't it? I don't know. We don't know all the details. Contact Molly's though if you don't want to drive and you want to drink.
$25 tickets includes beer from Ballast Point. Okay, I've never heard. Is that a beer, Brad? You're the beer guy here on this show.
It's a brewery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't drink, so anyway.
Probably sponsored.
It's a shame.
So yeah, if you want to hit up the bus trip, $25 tickets there. And as Bill said, contact Molly Malone's. Bill, thanks for being with us this week, and congrats to your son on his choice of Indiana University. So let's give it up for Wes. Congrats, Wes.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
He's a Hoosier.
You gotta be a little more excited than that, Bill. I mean, come on.
It was a tough choice. I mean, we have to decide tomorrow, right? So
Bill's getting the bill, so he's not that excited.
exactly. No, I am excited. It's like, way cheaper than some of the other choices he was looking
You
at.
mean he doesn't have a full ride for those academics, man?
No.
I don't buy it. I'm just kidding. Congrats, Wes. Honestly, congratulations.
I'm buying it.
Oh, appreciate you being with us, Bill.
Always a good time, man.
Final thoughts. We'll head over to our math major, Ken Hetker. Ken, thanks for being back with us, man.
Thanks for having me. Actually, that's one of my final thoughts is I apologize, but I don't apologize. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I'm a math guy. I like it. I understand not everybody's a stats guy. I just try and get it out there because I want people to realize there are numbers behind the game, and it's kind of like baseball and can be fun for some people in the sabermetrics, as we call it. The other thing I wanted to say is using those same numbers. A couple weeks back or about a month ago, we kind of I got a little bit hard into Corbin Bone, and we've been asking for Naz, and it's funny, everybody's asked for Naz, and I actually think Corbin Bone has freed up our midfield to the point that we are very dangerous. So I am thankful for you, Corbin, and I apologize if I ever offended you. That's my final thought.
Oh, I love it, Ken. A little mea culpa there. Well done. And yeah, I'll be the first to admit that when you throw those stats out there and these XG and these graphs, it's way over my head. But I love that you do it because there are some folks out there that absolutely dig it. And so keep up the good work with that. And we're gonna have power rankings coming up this week as well. I know you're a big part of that. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
He's muted his mic, and he has decided.
Thanks,
there you go. Sorry. That's all right. Final thoughts, Brad Weigel.
Well, because this is a family-friendly show, I need to call BS on something, and I was pretty upset a couple of years ago when the Crew announced if we would have won the game down in Tampa in the U.S. Open Cup that we would have to play at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. And I was pretty upset about that. And it's just more the optics of the whole thing. We want to make the Open Cup big and bad. It doesn't make sense to me to play in small venues where the TV coverage is not good, if it's even existent. And I know it's been out for some time, and it's just more become noticed. Tony DeChico got on Twitter this week, and there's been a bunch of people kind of raising a stink about it. But I'm pretty pissed off about it. It doesn't sit well with me that FC Cincinnati decided to play their U.S. Open Cup game and at Gettler Stadium in a couple weeks, and I'm going to call them out on it. I think it's a bad move. I think it delegitimizes competition. I don't think it makes it an intimate atmosphere at all. I don't buy that. I don't buy the business metrics. I really don't care if it's going to save you a couple $1,000s. We packed that place with 30,000 people 3 times last year, putting it in Nippert. And I know it's going to be a small crowd because of the competition, but if you want this competition to be big and bad, you got to play it in your best stadiums. And guess what? If you don't want to play it in your big and best stadiums, don't host the damn game. So I'm quite upset with the club on this, and I might catch some flack here. But I think it's important that we speak out about this and say that that's not acceptable. I don't want my club to represent that. I don't want my club to delegitimize this competition. I think it's low. I think it's garbage. I don't think it's for the best for U.S. soccer. I don't think we want to grow the game. We don't play these games at Gettler. We play them at Nippert. When we build our stadium, we're going to play it in our stadium. So I think it's probably too late to reverse that decision. But I hope they do, and I hope going forward they never make it's just bad decision. I hope they never make it again. It's embarrassing to me, and I hope they learn from this. Hopefully they do, and from now on we put the appropriate priority and emphasis on all of our competitions by playing them at a first-class venue.
Hot take from Brad there. And I'm not going to say it as strongly as you, Brad, but I do agree with you. I personally don't like the fact that we are playing the Open Cup game at Gettler Stadium. To me, it looks small. It looks like we don't care about the Open Cup, which is sad because a lot of the fans that are now season ticket holders got in on the Open Cup run last year and were introduced to FC Cincinnati soccer and got latched on. I get why they want to do it, but for me, maybe this isn't an FC Cincinnati issue so much as it is a U.S. soccer issue, that they should put some requirements in that you can't host these games at venues other than your home stadium. I mean, that's what they need to do.
Yeah, there's bigger issues. There's bigger things at play here, but we can control our club, our team. We can control what we can control. And my expectation of this club is we play all of our matches at Nippert or we don't host it at all. Simple enough.
I like it, Brad. Appreciate you stepping out there and voicing your opinion. Really do.
Sorry, I channel my inner Brian tonight. Sorry.
Oh, at least we shouldn't get the hashtag one too many.
Oh.
I'm kidding, of course. My final thoughts as we get out of here. I want to give a big shout out, and of course I'm ill prepared for this. I want to give a shout out to the 4 FC Cincinnati supporters that rode in the soccer sedan. I know Jono was in there, Kevin Wallace was in there, Andrew Prenovich, and I want to say, was it Brendan Yancey?
Yep.
Yeah, I did nail it. They did a
Captain
great
Yancey.
job. Yeah, they did a great job on the soccer sedan. It's a YouTube channel, very much like what was the name of that trivia show? The Trivia Taxi. I don't know. It used to be on TV. Anyway, this guy, he's a soccer fan.
Cash Cab.
The Cash Cab. Thank you, Bill. He goes around and brings in these soccer supporters and just plays trivia with them. And it's a really well put together YouTube channel. So go check it out. I'll actually include a link to their episode in our show notes this week over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. That's a really cool idea, and I'm glad that they represented the orange and blue very, very well. All right, that is my final thoughts. Remember, get subscribed to the show so you don't miss March to Match Day this week. And, of course, we'll be coming up in a few weeks. We're going to be live at House of Orange. Mark it on your calendars on May 14th. For Bill Wolf, for Brad Weigel, for Ken Hetker, I am Subes, reminding you to watch your tackles, and we will see you all next week.